Hello and welcome to Finance Conversations. This is the 35th episode of the Merging Life and Money Show, and I am super excited to be here today. For those of you who do not know me, I am your host, Marie-Jo César. I help professional women acquire and apply the relevant financial skills and knowledge they need to take control of their money, manage their finances, and understand that they can live their best life with the money they have. Thank you for joining in today. If you are watching the replay, make sure to type hashtag replay in the chat and leave me some comments and questions. Welcome, welcome, and welcome. I come to you live every Thursday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to share valuable information about how to achieve financial wellness and live your life with means and meaning. Today, we are going to talk about a very interesting topic, one that we do not necessarily associate with estate planning. Okay, and to address this topic, I have with me none other than AnnMichelle, who appeared on the show before. Hi, Anne.
Hi.
She's an estate planning attorney from Washington State, and Anne's passion is to help families and small businesses for the future by securing their estate plan today. So she makes the confusing understandable, and she explains the financial risk of not creating an estate plan. So welcome, AnnMichelle, to the Merging Life and Money Show, and welcome followers and listeners. Thank you for joining in today. So
Thank
grab
you. I'm
a
happy to
pen
be
and a
back again.
notebook, as you would want to take some notes today in particular, and you would want to share them with your family members, colleagues, and friends, because remember, on the Merging Life and Money Show, it is about sharing values that could benefit others. So before turning it over to you, Anne, I just want to define digital assets. Digital assets refer to all of the digital files and online accounts you own and use on your computers, your phones, tablets, and any like devices. They include social media accounts, your digital photos, email, online financial accounts, software and copyright licenses, and many other type of less than tangible goods and services. Okay, so all digital assets that you own and that are transferable will be included in your estate when you die. So you can use your will to determine who will get such digital assets. So transferable digital assets certainly include anything that is worth money, right? But they also include things that may have a more sentimental value. So if you own it and you can transfer it, you should be able to include it in your will. So I will go very quickly through a few examples. And if I have time toward the end of the show, I secured a list and I will be able to go through it. But I will go through a few examples that can be transferred through your will. Okay, so your funds in a PayPal account, for example, funds owned to you by an online store like Amazon or Etsy, your uh, currency, your cryptocurrency like Bitcoins and the like, digital music or photos that you own, frequent flyer miles. I even you don't know that, okay, that this was considered a digital asset, but it is. Maybe depending on the policy on the insurance company. So you got to make sure that you what's behind that. So if you have a frequent flyer, make sure that you look into this. You may also be able to use your will to transfer digital asset that you have a license to, like a domain name or copyright. But this depends on whether the terms of the licensing agreement allow transfer at death. There are also digital assets that cannot be transferred through your will. And practically speaking, most of your digital assets won't pass through your will, right? Usually because you do not have the right to transfer them. Even if they have a real value to you or your family, if you do not own them or have the right to transfer them at death, you cannot pass them through your will, right? So a clear
Correct.
example of this is your email and social media accounts. You do not own those accounts. You just have a license to use them. And your inability to transfer your account to another person is clearly limited by the terms you agreed to when you open up the account. So
Correct.
example of digital assets that won't pass through your will are like your email and social media account, the non-transferable domains that you've licensed, a subscription account like Netflix or Spotify, okay, apps on your phone or tablet, and the data they contain, right? So if you care about what happens to your digital assets, you should make a plan for what happens to them after you die, okay? And you should do that before you die, clearly. On this note, I am going to turn it over to AnnMichelle. And Anne, my first question to you is, what happens to digital assets after a death?
And let me start off by saying again, this is for entertainment value only. This is not giving specific legal advice to you. So if you need legal advice, call me or an attorney in your state. So typically, what happens to your assets, if it's a license, anything that's in that belongs to the company that you're using. But there are some things in there. Let's just use Facebook for an example, or should we call them Meta today, uh, since they just changed their name. If you have photos that you've uploaded to Facebook, you need to get those off of Facebook because your choices are limited to either shutting down the account or making it a legacy. So a legacy account would be people can still see what has been posted, but they can't take anything down and they can't, other than leave a comment, they can't post a new post to that site. So if you have anything on Facebook, your children's memories, I don't know, other things that you've done that you want to have, you need to pull those things off and get them stored in a different place. Same thing with your phone. If you have memories and video on your phone that you want to keep, you need to download them to another digital storage where you can keep them other than having them on your phone. When you're looking at doing digital storage, there's two kinds of digital storages. There's the kind where you keep photos and videos, and there's the kind where you keep documents. I have access to both of those. And so if you need to know more about how to do this and what's at stake for you, you need to contact me or another attorney. As far as documents go, if you're storing documents, you really need to have the basic information for your family about things like who has your insurance policy, who's your insurance agent, what's the insurance policy number, do you have a deed to your house that you can put on a digital storage that will make things easier? Do you have things like life insurance policies or a home insurance policy? Those kinds of information need to be on a secure site where your family knows where to find them. They need to have access to your email address, and they also need, because a lot of your bills are coming that way, right? And then they also need to know who you owe money to, how to access those creditors and what the accounts are, and prove that they have access to them so none of your bills ends up going to collections after you die.
Yeah, these are good points. So tell me, how does this work? You mentioned banking, okay?
Yes,
So most of us do our banking online.
correct.
So you die suddenly. So you know, um, how the bank would know that to stop those payments, or how does it go?
You'd
Or
be
what,
really surprised.
what I should say is, what can you tell the audience about how to prepare themselves for things like this? Because I mean, I never thought about it until we started having that conversation ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. What a lot of people used to banking, is that there was a little bit of a delay between the time a person passed away and the time the bank knew about the person passing away. And now it's almost instantaneous because as soon as you die, there is a death certificate that's issued that is put on all of these websites that notify that there's been a death. And
Mm-hmm.
then immediately after that, the banks go searching for any of their account holders that have passed away and they lock those accounts. You can die on a Friday, and by Monday, your family can't get into your accounts. It happens that quickly. So,
Mm-hmm.
what you need to have happen is the digital storage will allow you to have, let's say, if it's a bank, the bank login and the passcode with if there's a two-factor authentication, you'll have access to that and you'll be able to get into that bank account and see what there is. And especially if you're making payments on a mortgage, you need to make those payments on a mortgage so your house doesn't end up in trouble while they're sorting through probate. In doing that, then you do have to start the probate and you do have to get letters of administration that then go to the bank. They can then transfer the entire account into the probate name or to the name of the person who's taking care of it. But in the meantime, you need to have your family know what's in there so they can protect it. They can't protect it if they don't know what's there. And if they can't find it, they can't put it in probate.
So basically, you got to find a trusted family member or whatever, whomever, that should know all of those passwords and access numbers and whatever.
Correct.
I mean, because everything is backed up by a phone, right? So your
Correct.
second authentication comes via phone. So
Correct.
that person would have
There's
to have access to your phone, not just holding the phone, but being able to have access to the phone, to the information on the phone.
correct. And
So
don't forget, people need to know if you have a passcode on your phone
yeah, that's what I'm saying. They have
because
to
I have a
have,
passcode on my phone too.
yeah, yeah. So you have to plan all this. I mean, this is a new way of thinking because I
Correct.
hate to say that, but the way that this look, we are still transitioning. It seems because I don't think that we have
We
it
are.
down yet. I think that technology is outpacing um, anything else. I mean, the regulations and the laws and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
As far
The
as I'm
law is
concerned,
notoriously slow, and technology is always faster than the law catches up.
right.
There have been numerous things where we've finally gotten a law in place around computer software, and then it was completely passe by the time the law got into place.
Right.
So it does
Yeah.
happen.
So
Uh,
I mean that is amazing. I mean, as I said, this did not come to my attention, and I'm big into estate planning and that kind of stuff. And I've never even mentioned digital assets. And we
right.
have to be very specific when we talk about digital assets because it's not just bitcoins and the
Correct.
like currencies.
It isn't. Right.
It's as we well said, your email account, your social media. I mean, you name it, or your online banking, and you got to
And if you run a
find.
small business, guess what? Your business is online too. Everything that
Yeah.
you do for your business now is online. Your customer data information is online. All of your web information is online. All of your supplier information, who you get supplied from, who your vendors are, all online. So
Hmm.
small businesses are especially impacted as well, and your family needs to know all of those. Now, there's
Yeah.
a couple ways you can do storage. You can do storage by loosely using, let's say, an Excel spreadsheet or a Word document that your family knows how to find. Those aren't typically the best way to store information as far as documents because your Word document and your Excel cannot store the actual copy of a deed or the copy of an insurance policy. There are companies who sell digital storage. I have access to one of them. And the advantage of doing that is you put everything in this digital storage. You can put your documents in there, access to your email, business account lists, vendors, bills that you pay, all those kinds of things up there. And then you only have one login and one password to give to your trusted person. They don't have to memorize 50,000 pieces. When I
Right.
first started this, I'm not going to joke with you. I have a cheat sheet on Word when I started this that was 72 pages long because it has all of my business, all of my
Woohoo.
my lawyer
Wow.
passcodes to all of my business support things that go with my and all my personal. And I kept thinking, boy, if something were to happen, my family knows where to find that document. But this digital storage is so much better and so much easier because they have access now to a picture of my bar card instead of just my bar number. So then they can literally take that where they need to as far as closing down accounts because they can show people who do business with me, this is her picture, this is what she looks like, this was her barcode.
Right. Okay. Well, that's so very valuable. I could tell you. I mean, we are, after all, living in a digital world.
Yes.
So, we got to start thinking that way, right? And we got to
Well,
make our friends before we need them,
yeah.
because we got to
Well, and
make
let's
sure
not.
that we could trust somebody with
Yes.
that information,
Well, and
right?
let's not just talk documents. Let's talk emotional things too. How many with the advances in cell phones, this generation takes far more pictures and documents everything than the generation that I grew up in. I mean, we maybe had one portrait every year, school pictures, and then maybe if our family had somebody that was a shutterbug in the family, we got more than just a few pictures. People nowadays click off 10 and 20 in a day, where we used to take 10 and 20 in a year. And so
Yep,
you have
totally.
all these memories and they're so precious. You can't replace those. You need to get those off into a digital storage for photographs. So there's
Right.
two kinds of storage, one for photos and one for documents.
Good. Let's move on. It's already 16 after the hour. In prior conversation that we had regarding this specific topic of digital assets and their preservation, you made the following comments, and I quote, "What you don't know could hurt your family." What did you mean by that?
Oh my gosh. I'll give you an example. I'm working on a probate now for a family member, and we literally don't know what all the bills are because we can't find hard copies. And we know there's an insurance policy, but we don't know who the insurance is with. We don't know what kind of insurance it is, and we don't know the value of it. And with that information, I can't find it. I don't know how to find it. We have bills that we know that somebody that the family had taken out, but I can't tell you if there's a balance owed because I don't know if they paid it off. The information I have is 7 or 8 years old. The balance clearly may be paid off. It could be higher than we have. I don't know that. So I'm in the process of writing all of the creditors now to try and verify all the balances. If they had had a digital storage, they could have updated all of their accounts in that digital storage to say, oh, we paid off the Sears account. We don't have a Lowe's account anymore. And the Lowe's account is now, or the Home Depot account now is 15,000 because we had the kitchen redone. And it would make it so much easier if we knew if the estate was what they call liquid or not liquid.
Right.
So liquidity means that we have more assets than we have debts. And right now, I still don't know that.
That's a point. Now
And
you
it,
mentioned regarding the bank that well, the information is filtered so quickly after one's death. Do they? I mean, they have the information to shut down your account, right?
right.
Or to, but what are they ceasing all activity on the account? How does it
They
go?
will, yeah, they will freeze the account.
Okay.
And there's two ways to look at it. Like me, I'm single. So if I'm single, they're going to freeze my account until the probate court gives somebody in my family letters of representation, meaning they speak for my estate. The other way it works is if you have a joint account with, let's say, a spouse or a
Mhm.
significant other, and they are a joint right of survivorship, then
Right.
it would automatically go to them, but they may freeze it temporarily until they figure it out.
Okay. So basically, no transaction will go through that account the minute that they
Yes.
they are informed that you are dead.
Yeah. And if it's a personal
Okay.
account where you're paying rent or paying your auto or
Right.
life insurance or
Yeah,
auto
I
insurance,
mean,
years
and
to
those,
bounce a payment.
yeah, it takes a while to notify all these people, particularly if you don't know to start with. I'm living in the
Correct.
US. My kids are in Bermuda. And it's like my husband and I were talking about. I say, my God, if something were to happen, I mean, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So we're dealing with that. That is giving me a lot to think about, and I'm sure this is basically the same for the listeners and those who are going to listen to the replay. That is so critical.
Well, I
Um,
don't want them to be afraid of it. I don't want them to be afraid of it. I want them to understand that there are things that they need to think about, and
no,
the more
absolutely, yeah.
information they have, the
It's
better they can take care
awareness.
of it.
It's awareness. Okay, so if you don't know, as you said, I mean, what you don't know could hurt your family, right? So,
Absolutely.
so you got to make sure that you do whatever you have to do, and then also understand that some of those things are asset. They are worth money, so they
Yes.
could be listed in your will. So, and
Correct.
that's because it's all part of the financial picture. That
Correct.
in any good financial plan would clearly have an estate plan in it, and
Hmm.
those kind of digital assets do feature into that estate plan. So
Correct.
my final question for you, although it's a very interesting topic, I could see for following from that show. My final question for you today is what one can do to save memories, money, and hassles for their families.
Well, definitely hassles, making sure that if you have pictures, you have a digital storage for pictures and definitely a digital storage for your precious documents and account access. If your family has to go looking for those things, it's going to be a hassle to try and find them, and they may not find all of them. The worst case scenario is you end up closing probate, and then your family, as we might, find that last insurance policy and then have to open probate again. That's costly.
Mhm.
If you don't know where things are, probate is longer and it's more costly. And honestly, the more time that you end up trying to figure out where things are, the longer it takes and the more costly it is. So by getting this together, you save your family not only hassles, you can save them from having, let's say, a delinquent account that costs money because they're going to have late fees. They may send it to collections. You may end up your house in foreclosure.
Mhm.
The more you can contain things and make things easier for the family, it's also more cost effective to do so.
So tell me, what about we have? I mean, the gig economic is like exploding, right? So PayPal, Stripes, and the like.
Hmm.
So what
Hmm.
happened to all of that when somebody dies? I mean, do they get notified like the bank do?
They get notified just like the bank. They do
Okay.
have an entire legal department that does nothing but looking for their account holders that have passed away.
Mhm.
They have slightly different rules. Again, with the terms of service, you have to look and see what their terms are about how the account can be sent to another person or owned by another person. Typically, what they will end up doing is with the letters of representation, they will close that account, meaning the deceased person no longer has an account, and the money would then be given to the estate.
Okay. Okay, that's how that goes. Okay, that's good to know because you know there is quite a large percentage of people in this world, particularly with the pandemic, that
Hmm.
are now business owner and that are trading,
Correct.
that are transacting online purely. Okay, yours truly, for
Correct.
example, right? So what happened? I mean, I do receive email from time to time from PayPal saying, "Oh, you have not collected your money. You have not collected your money, or Stripe or whatever." So I just want the audience to know that all those things need to be thought about and taken care of under the umbrella
Hmm.
of your estate plan. Okay,
Correct.
so I'm going to wind down a little bit. Thank you so much. Very interesting topic. Certainly one that is not top of mind, but should be given a lot of attention given the fact that we are living in a digital world, right? So,
Absolutely.
so today, very briefly, in those short 20, almost 5 minutes, we talked about what happened to your digital assets after death. And we realized that we must educate ourselves on the subject matter and in the planning process, and above all, that we have to make sure that we plan ahead so we make this very smooth transition or transfer of wealth for the family.
Right.
I got a chance to look at. I'm looking at a comment, and one member of the audience is asking, where do we find digital storage?
If you want to ask more questions, I do have one that I can explain a little bit more. This is not the only one out there. If you search on the internet for either digital storage or digital assets storage, then you should be able to find. I know there's at least a couple of them out there. Make sure you get one that has high encryption. So you're going to be looking for one that has military grade. You don't want them to get hacked, and you're also going to be able to looking for one that is affordable.
Mm,
Make sure you're looking and you know which one you're looking for. So if you're looking for a a paper type digital storage, that's a little bit different than a picture storage. So make it clear which one you're looking for. but you do need both because typically a paper storage will not hold pictures and a picture storage will not hold documents. You don't want a picture of a document. You want an actual PDF scan document.
Okay. So, Amisha, before forget, could you please give the audience your contact information?
Absolutely. If you want to call me, my phone number is
I did put it
206-641-6014.
on the screen as well.
You can email me at heartlawpllc@gmail.com. And if you want to check out my website, it is in transition. So I think it's still up under the old one. We are transitioning to a new one, but the landing page will still be the same. It's www.heartlawpllc.estateplan.com. And if you want to link up with me on LinkedIn, there's my LinkedIn. Come find me. And I will say that one of the things that I want to impress upon people is I am your attorney with heart. I care about what happens to you. I do this because I want you to be informed. You can't make a good decision if you don't know what's happening.
Well said. A big thanks to you for an awesome contribution today. And I am looking forward to having you next month. And guess what next month is? The last Thursday of November this
November
year
already.
is Thanksgiving. So there shall not be a Merging and Life Money show that day. So
Okay.
we will have a chat and see if you could do it the Thursday before or the Thursday after. I mean,
I'll be happy to come back.
Yeah, we have to keep the momentum going. So thanks
Yes.
again, AnnMichelle, for your contribution today.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Okay. For more information about how to achieve financial wellness from the inside out and live a purposeful life with the money you have, join me next week, Thursday at 5 p.m. Pacific Time, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 9 p.m. Atlantic Time. Oh my gosh, tongue twister. For my Bermuda peeps, 10 a.m. Friday, Brisbane, Australia time. Thank you for being here today on the Merging Life and Money Show. I am your host, Marie-Jo César. I will be back again next week. Until then, continue merging life and money. Bye for now.